welcome back. Today, we are jumping into a really important piece of clean software design, the Interface Segregation Principle, or ISP for short. It's a key part of the solid principles, and trust me, getting this right will seriously level up your code. So let me ask you something. Are your classes being forced to carry around a bunch of unnecessary baggage? Have you ever found yourself writing a totally empty method just to satisfy an interface? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you've definitely felt the pain of violating ISP.
But hey, the good news is there is a much better way to do things. The solution is the Interface Segregation Principle, and it's all about designing with precision and focus.
The official definition is actually pretty simple, but wow, is it powerful. It says, clients should not be forced to depend on methods they do not use. Basically, it's a rule against bloating your interfaces with a bunch of stuff your classes don't actually need. So if you want a simple way to remember it, think of this mantra. Many, small, specific interfaces are way better than one giant, general-purpose one. The whole goal here is to be lean and specialized, not one size fits all.
Let's make this crystal clear with a real-world example. Imagine you go to a restaurant and they hand you one gigantic menu. It's got vegetarian dishes, meats, drinks, everything all mixed up. All you want is a soda, but you have to scan past all the food just to find it. It's just inefficient, right? The ISP solution is just common sense. Separate menus. One for food, one for drinks. You only look at what's relevant to you. That's the exact idea we're applying to our code.
Okay, so let's see what this looks like in code when we get it wrong. We're going to look at a classic problem that's caused by something called a fat interface. So take a look at this. We've got a single fat interface called iWorker, and it tries to cover every possible action a so-called worker might do: eat, fly, and swim. Now, at first glance, you might think, oh, that's efficient, grouping them together. But this is exactly where the trouble starts. Because here's the thing. What happens when we try to use this interface with a fish class? Well, that fish is now forced to have a fly method. But fish can't fly. This leads to these totally absurd situations where you have to write an empty method or throw an exception, which is a huge red flag that your design is broken. So, how do we fix this mess? We refactor it. We use the Interface Segregation Principle to guide us to a much cleaner, much leaner solution. And the process is actually pretty straightforward. First, we identify the different roles or abilities. Flying is a totally separate thing from swimming. So second, we create small, laser-focused interfaces for each one, like a flyable interface and a swimmable interface. And then finally, our classes only implement the interfaces that actually apply to them. Simple as that. No more, no less. And would you look at that difference? It's night and day. Before, our poor fish was stuck with this bloated interface and a totally useless fly method. But after refactoring, the fish class just implements swimmable. That's it. It's clean, it's logical, and it only has methods it actually needs. The design just makes sense now. Okay, so this is the so what moment. Why should you actually care about this? Let's talk about the real benefits of using ISP and the common mistakes you really want to avoid. The payoffs here are huge. First off, you get a much cleaner design. This makes your whole system more flexible, and, this is the big one, decoupled. That means a change to, say, the flyable interface won't accidentally break something totally unrelated like our fish class. And all of this makes your code so much easier to understand and maintain in the long run. And just as important, here's what not to do. The number one mistake is creating those big, fat interfaces that try to be a jack of all trades. And right along with that is forcing classes to implement methods they have no use for. If you see this pattern in your code, that's a major sign that you're violating ISP. All right, let's say you're prepping for a technical interview, and this topic comes up. Pay close attention because this is the one thing you absolutely positively need to remember. You just need to bring it all back to that core definition. The key idea is this. Clients should not be forced to depend on methods they do not use. If you can say that clearly and then give a simple example, like our fish that can't fly, you'll show them that you really get it. You'll have nailed it. And that's our deep dive into the Interface Segregation Principle. It's such a powerful way to make your code more focused, flexible, and just plain easier to work with. If you want to master all of the solid principles, make sure you subscribe so you can follow the rest of this series. Thanks for watching and happy coding!